What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Day and I'm a security analyst and college student, and this video is going to be the next installment of our cybersecurity home lab project. And just a quick recap of the previous videos, we've walked through the introduction, which covered the topology and project scope, specifications, everything that you need to know about the project. And the next video was configuring pfSense. We walked through the firewall and how we're going to be using it for network segmentation. So the next part is going to be installing and configuring SecOnion as our all-in-one IDS log management solution. So here on my website at cybersecurity.com, we'll head over to the blog section, and in the blog section we'll head over to the labs, and here in the labs you'll see the only thing here is building a cybersecurity home lab. And so like I said, we'll walk through pfSense. So we'll be configuring SecOnion as our all-in-one IDS security monitoring and log management solution. So let's look at our topology real quick, just to kind of reference what we're doing here. So we've done pfSense. Right now we're going to be working on SecOnion. This interface is going to be directly connected to pfSense. This interface is going to be collecting all the traffic here from our victim network, so we can see it in pfSense. So we're going to have two interfaces for that. So we'll walk through that in the configuration, and you'll see that. So we've gone through all of this. So here, okay, yeah, here we have it. So here we have SecOnion, and if this is not your first time on the blog, you would know that this is an updated version of the blog. I was previously using SecOnion 16.4 or something, I think, but now I'm using the most up-to-date version, which is to the 3.5.1, which was built on 27th of April. So this is the most up-to-date version, and I have updated it as I promised when I first did the blog. So yeah, this is where you can download it. This is the link to download it, and you have your SecOnion ISO. I would not be downloading it now because I already have it downloaded. But let's head back here, and yeah, so we're gonna be walking through this, using this to complete the lab. So let me just make that smaller, and let me head back to my VMware workstation screen. So here I have my pfSense machine running, but I will be going home. I don't really need it, but I'll just have it on. So create a new virtual machine, typical, next, so my disk image, and I have my SecOnion machines here. So we're going to be using 2.3.5.1, next, and Linux. So this is going to be CentOS 7, 64-bit. Make sure that is correct. Then we'll say next, and we'll name this machine SecOnion because that sounds really cool. And so here, the minimum you want is 200 gigabytes. At least that's the minimum that SecOnion recommends. So I will be giving it 400, just a little bit of overkill, but you know, you're going to be dealing with a lot of data, so as much as possible. So store virtual disk as a single file. Yeah, next. Alright, so we want to customize the hardware. We're not doing much here. So SecOnion recommends a minimum of 12 gigabytes of RAM, so I'm going to be giving this 16 gigabytes. Processors, I think I recommend 4 at the minimum, so we'll just give it the minimum. Alright, what else do we need? We need 2 more network interfaces. So network adapter 2, and then network adapter 3. Alright, so network adapter 3 will be mapped to VMnet 4 like we looked at it in the topology. That part is going to be with pfSense, and then network adapter 3 will be mapped to VMnet 5, which will be the span port. And yeah, so as you can see, that's correct. We can take out the printer, and we can take out the sound card as well as the USB controller, because we don't really need those. So we'll close that and we'll finish off. Alright, so the next thing to do will be to power on this virtual machine. Select OK here. Alright, and just enter here. It's to take a little bit of time. So this is SecOnion is a really long process, it's gonna take a lot of time, so just make sure you're ready for that. Yeah, this is gonna be a little bit a longer video, but I will definitely like fast forward the parts that are going to take a long time. But yeah, just be prepared for a long process, but it will be fun though. Alright, so here we're just gonna type in yes. And we'll create an administrative username. I'm just gonna name this CYBERWOX, and the password, should put in a good password there. Alright, I didn't type the password correctly. Alright, there we go. Alright, so our install is complete, and we're just gonna click enter to reboot, and our security on your machine will reboot. Alright, so it's rebooted. We will log in with our previous credentials, so the CYBERWOX and password. Ooh, try again. Ooh. Oh wow. I might have made a mistake with the password, but it's all cool. I'll just note that down. Alright, so would you like to continue? Yes, we would. Install, select an option. We're going to be running the standard installation, and we're going to be using the eval, so enter, and we will agree to that. Okay, and yes, we'll be using standard, and we're just going to name this SecOnion because it sounds cool. I just like how that sounds. So SecOnion, and we just say description is going to be security onion virtual machine, and we will be using the first interface, which is ENS32 for management interface. So we just use the space bar to select it and click enter, and we want to use the DHCP for our management interface. So enter, yes, and okay. Alright, so we want direct connectivity to the internet. Alright, so the monitor interface is going to be ENS34, so we use spacebar to select that. Okay, and we want our update schedule to be automatic, so enter. We're just going to leave this at default, and the more services you enable, the more RAM that is required. Okay, just keep that in mind. And so I want to enable all of these services, but you can deselect anyone you think you are not going to be using. So I'm not going to deselect anything, so I'm just click enter. Do you want to keep the default Docker IP range? Yes. An email address. So this doesn't have to be like an actual email address. Just need an email address, something.com that you can use to access the web address. So day@cyberwoxacademy.com. Make sure that's correct. day@cyberwoxacademy.com. Cool. Enter, and a password. Confirm that. Okay, let's try again. Alright, cool. So how would you like to access the web interface? So I think the best way is through an IP address. So just click enter. Would you like to configure an NTP service? We'll say yes. We'll leave the default. Do you want to run so allow? We'll say no. We will configure that through the command line after SecOnion is installed, because we need to do something else before running so allow. So no. And just make sure you have a note of this. The most important thing you're looking at here is the access URL, which is 192.168.135.130 for me. So with that, we'll just scroll the way down, look at everything. Everything looks good. And we use tab to select yes, and the installation will begin. This is going to take a fairly long amount of time, so you can just take a break or something and get back to it later when it is installed. So I will just speed over this and move on to the next stage of the video. Alright, so while our SecOnion machine is loading up, we don't necessarily have to wait for that. There's another step we have to go through. So let me move over to this screen here, and if we scroll down, there's a part that I sectioned and called Security Onion Management or SecOnion Management. So this was like an idea that came to me, and it was the goal of this was to kind of simulate a security analyst or a SOC analyst accessing a SIM or a tool from the device, right? So for example, like if you're going to be accessing an Azure instance or a Splunk instance or a EDR instance, you probably will be accessing it through an IP address or through a web address, which I guess the system administrator would have whitelisted your IP address to be able to access it or your device, as a security analyst. So this is kind of the goal of that. So we're going to be simulating a Ubuntu desktop for that. It's going to be a really simple installation. So we'll be using the Ubuntu desktop, and we'll be simulating like the experience of an actual security analyst accessing the Security Onion device from their own laptop or whatever assigned device they have. So installing Ubuntu is really easy, and we'll walk through that real quick. So the link to that is here, and here's Ubuntu desktop. Do I have any choice really? So this downloaded here. I do have Ubuntu desktop downloaded in my folder. So let's just go into installing Ubuntu desktop. So let's move over to the other screen, and we'll go home and we'll create a new virtual machine and typical next. So install a disk image file is here, Ubuntu 20.4.2. Yeah, that's the most recent one. So next, and full name, we'll just name this SecOnion Management, and username, so username will be CYBERWOX, and the password, confirm the password. Next, and we'll name this machine SecOnion Management. You can name it something cool like SOC analyst or security analyst or something like that, but we'll just name it SecOnion Management. Next, and we'll just leave this as it is. We don't really need anything crazy for it. We don't need any major configuration for it. So next, we're just gonna leave it as this. We're not gonna customize anything in the hardware, so we'll finish that. And we're doing this while our Security Onion machine is still configuring in the background. All right, so it's just gonna load up. All right, it looks like our Security Onion Management device is ready, so we will log in now. All right, shouldn't take too long. Let's check back on our Security Onion, see how that is doing. Oh, it's almost ready, 95%. And okay, so we're just gonna skip over this. We don't really need all of this extra stuff. Next, no, don't send system info. Next, yeah, it's fine. Done. First thing I want to do is just remove this, and we're just gonna open the terminal. All right, cool. And we're just gonna add it here to favorites. Cool, that's what I want. And ipconfig. So we have to install net tools, I think. So sudo apt install net tools. I think that's it. Okay, there we go. Ooh, oh, okay, it's supposed to be joined together with the hyphen. All right, there we go. So net tools essentially allows us to use the if config command. There we go. So what we are essentially looking for is this address. So we'll keep that in mind, note it somewhere, and we'll just note that IP address somewhere, because we're gonna be using it soon in our SecOnion configuration. So with that, we're done with the SecOnion management device, which is essentially like our SOC analyst or security analyst or whoever is accessing our SecOnion device. So this is ready. All right. So the web interface address is 192.168.135.130, which is cool. So enter to reboot. All right. So our machine is on, and we will log in with our credentials. All right, so with that set up, what we want to do now is remember we were asked about so allow, and so now we will be configuring so allow. And here we have made a note of this IP address 192.168.135.137. But let's actually try to access the pfSense web address from this IP address. Alright guys, so I made a little mistake in this part of the video. I was supposed to type in 192.168.135.130 instead of .137. So a correction here is .130, which is the actual SecOnion's IP address, and we can see here it's not unavailable, it's unable to connect. You will also get this error message, but it's supposed to be .130. Alright, have access to it. So for us to create a firewall rule that will allow connections from that particular IP address, we're going to be using so allow. So sudo so -allow, enter, and enter your password. So it's a hassle every time. All right, there we go. And next thing we'll do, so so this program allows you to add a firewall rule to allow connections from a new IP address. So you can choose the role for the IP or the range you would like to add. So we want to analyst role, so say A, and the IP address is the one we noted before, so it's going to be, let me turn my number locks on, 192.168.135.137. So enter, and that will load up. Alright, so our so allow configuration is done. So we can head over to our SecOnion management device. Let's sign in here. Alright, so previously we were unable to connect, so let's try again now. 192.168.135.130, I think. Alright, there we go. And advance and accept the risk and continue. All right, so remember that email address we had? That's what we're gonna use. So day@cyberwoxacademy.com. Cool. And the password is going to be the password we set for it. We don't want to save this. All right, so that is our configuration for SecOnion. Here we're gonna look at some alerts. So we have some alerts, you know, just our recent login session, user login failed. That was when I was logging in earlier on. Listen port status changed, syslog, all of that fun stuff for alerts. And we can hunt. So here there are different metrics that we can use to like kind of hunt for certain things. We could request PCAPs from, you know, endpoints. we can look like I think we can look at the grid of our configuration, downloads, administration, users. The only user here is me. We can also look at Kibana. Let's open. It's a little bit slow because of Kibana. But yeah, like we already have everything configured. This is Kibana right here. Should load up in a second. But while we wait for that, we can just quickly look at the other things that it has. It's a little slow right now. I wonder why. We can also look at Grafana, which is also a tool for monitoring, your system metrics and everything like that. So here you can see like memory usage, all the different tools that's a part of SecOnion. We can see how how they're all utilized. Let's go back to Kibana right here. Alright, so look at our Kibana dashboard, which is the default dashboard. Here everything in terms of Kibana here. Let's close that up. And what else? We have other things, CyberChef, Playbook, Fleet DM, the Hive, Navigator. So all these are fun things that we can play around with when we install our Windows devices as well as our Kali machine. So this is really cool. This is really cool. And yeah, this is the whole installation of our SecOnion machine. And I hope you were able to follow this. If you have any issues or you need any issues with you need anything with troubleshooting, just join our Discord community. I'll be glad to help you with any of that. And yeah, that ends our SecOnion virtual machine configuration. And I'm looking forward to the next one, which will be configuring Kali Linux. This is going to be really short and really simple, as you can see here. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you like this video, please make sure to smash the like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed. And do share this video with anyone who you think it will provide value to. And I will see you in the next video.